If you think OpenAI is creating artificial intelligence just to make your life easier, then you've fallen into the trap. The truth is much darker, and what you see here could completely change the way you see the digital world. While everyone applauds advances in AI, a silent network of global control is being built before our eyes, and no one is questioning it. The Matrix, Terminator, Westworld, they weren't just science fiction, they were warnings, ignored signs that technology could surpass the limits of humanity and turn against us. And now, this is no longer a movie script, it's reality. What happens when an artificial intelligence has more power than an entire government? When algorithms decide what you see, what you buy, what do you think? Do you really believe this is about efficiency? Or would it be about surveillance, manipulation, and absolute dominance? OpenAI has already created systems so advanced that they can generate perfect deepfakes, write text indistinguishable from a human, and predict behavior with frightening accuracy. And while this is sold as innovation, the real plan remains hidden. Digital mind control, mass manipulation, and a silent step toward the collapse of human autonomy. Elon Musk tried to warn us. He even compared AI to nuclear weapons, and yet large corporations continue to accelerate this insane rate with the support of governments and secret agencies. What do they know that they're not telling you? What's behind OpenAI's benevolent facade? Have you ever stopped to think about why so many billionaires are investing in artificial intelligence, but at the same time warning about its catastrophic risks? Is this technology being built to serve or to subjugate? And the scariest thing is that this has all already started. Artificial intelligence is among us, operating silently in military systems, government databases, and social. And while most lie numb to entertainment, critical decisions about our future are being made by lines of code. But what comes next is even more disturbing. And if you think this is just another conspiracy theory, then you are exactly where they want you to be: distracted, disbelieving, and vulnerable. The truth is, as you watch this video, advanced algorithms are analyzing your data, predicting your choices, shaping your opinion, and no one is warned. No one, except the few who decided to look beyond the surface. If this information is causing you discomfort, it's because it needs it. They told a story about artificial intelligence as if it were just progress, but behind this narrative is a meticulous plan, and the more you know, the more prepared you will. But here's a warning. This type of content, which reveals what they don't want you to, can be silenced at any time. Therefore, if you want to continue having access to hidden truths, if you believe that knowledge is a form of protection, then leave your like right now. Shows that you are awake, that you are not here by chance. And subscribe to the channel, because what comes in the next few minutes could be even more serious, and you need to be on top of it before it's too late. Turn on the notification bell too, because when this type of information is revealed, the time to act is short. You won't want to miss the next alert. While you hear about incredible advances in artificial intelligence, behind the scenes, documents show that these same systems are being trained not to help you, but to manipulate, monitor, and even decide what is true or false. OpenAI, which presents itself as an organization focused on AI security, is up to its neck in partnerships with government institutions and billion-dollar corporations. And you know what's scarier? Nobody talks about it. They call it strategic collaboration. But the truth is that this is creating an ecosystem where a minority with access to almost divine technologies decides the future of the majority. No consultation, no transparency, and of course, without opposition. Do you remember when Elon Musk was part of OpenAI? Well, he was one of the founders, but it came out. Officially, he alleged differences of vision and conflict of interest with Tesla. But is that really all? Or did Musk see something happening behind the scenes, something he chose to move away from before it was too late? After all, the same Elon who invested heavily in AI was the first to compare it to nuclear weapons. He knows what's coming. He saw. And his silence in itself is already a warning. Traditional media doesn't say anything. The headlines are always the same. Promising AI advances, ChatGPT helps students, OpenAI launches powerful new model. But what they don't show are the connections between OpenAI and government intelligence agencies like DARPA and NSA. Do you know who finances part of the more aggressive tests? The US Department of Defense? Yes, the same technology that answers your question about cake recipes in chat is also being used to train military simulations, predict mass behavior, and even influence political speeches. Have you ever wondered why, suddenly, so much content on social media seems to guide your thinking? This is no coincidence. It's engineering. It's behavioral programming done by AI. And most alarmingly, there is evidence that algorithms have already been tested to manipulate election results, using personal microdata to create highly targeted and emotionally manipulative campaigns. And guess what? These tests did not take place in distant countries, but on American soil. This is the kind of thing the billionaires who control technology call engagement optimization. But in practice, it is mass psychological manipulation, carried out by machines that understand the human mind better than. And in the meantime, OpenAI continues to say that its mission is to ensure that artificial intelligence benefits all of humanity. But how exactly will this happen if decisions are being made by a restricted group of executives, scientists, and investors that no one elects, no one supervises, and who are not accountable to anyone? Why do these companies hide behind utopian speeches, while at the same time building systems that have already surpassed human capacity in several areas? Have you ever noticed that whenever someone tries to raise these questions, the answer is always the same: conspiracy theory? This is the perfect label to silence anyone who questions the system. Now, look around you. How many of your decisions are really yours? What you watch, consume, believe, did you really choose or were you induced? AIs already dominate recommendation engines, filter the content that reaches you and shape your worldview. This is not just technology, it's domination, it's perception engine, it's control. And that's why this video is so important. They don't want you to see that. They don't want you to think about it. Because while you are distracted by the incredible news and revolutionary features, they continue to move forward with the project that no one voted for, no one asked for, but that is already underway. And if you've made it this far, it's because you feel like something is wrong. Even if you don't know exactly what, it's your instinct screaming. Listen to him. In fact, I want to hear from you. Do you believe that Elon Musk left OpenAI due to technical differences, or because of something more obscure that we don't yet know about? Comment, Musk knew, if you also suspect this. Or write, they are in control, if you believe that the government and big tech are manipulating everything from the shadows. Let's see how many are actually. And this is exactly where things start to get even more disturbing. Because if until now it seemed like this was all just a matter of information control, what follows reveals an even more dangerous dimension. AI can now decide who lives and who dies. Yes, this is not an exaggeration. This is not a fiction script. This is already happening in real time, away from the media spotlight, away from the public eye. The worst? The algorithm could be making these decisions without any human knowing. None. There are autonomous systems being tested, mainly in military environments, which are already capable of identifying targets, analyzing risk profiles, and authorizing lethal actions, without needing human validation. And do you know what justification is used? Speed, efficiency, real-time decision-making. But what happens when an algorithm gets it wrong? Who is held responsible? The robot? The developer? The government? Nobody responds. Nobody explains. And the data simply disappears, buried under the label of national security sensitive information. And this is not restricted to war zone. Large cities around the world are already using AI systems to make decisions in critical areas, such as public safety, bank, credit, medical diagnoses, and even court sentences. Did you know that there are already algorithms that recommend how long a person should spend in prison based on historical data? And that, many times, the judge just follows the suggestion? Now tell me, who is really judging? The human being or the machine? What if this algorithm is biased? What if it is being trained with manipulated data? Who guarantees that decisions that impact lives every day aren't being made by invisible codes, written by companies you've never heard of? This is not paranoia. This is real. In 2023, a contract between a private technology company and the Pentagon was revealed, in which tactical AI prototypes were being developed for autonomous reconnaissance and attack missions. In simpler words, robots armed with permission to act alone, based on behavioral parameters. Can you imagine the risk this poses? An AI trained on imperfect data, programmed to kill based on profiles, contexts, or patterns? This is algorithmic warfare. This is automated murder. And even beyond the battlefield, using AI to manipulate public perception has become routine. Have you seen the deep fakes that have been circulating? There are already videos where public figures appear saying things they never said, with absurd perfection. Technology is so advanced that the distinction between real and simulated is disappearing. And now, answer me. If you can't trust what you see or hear, what will you trust? Behind the scenes at OpenAI and other big techs, experimental versions of AI are being tested that can generate entire video, with voices and faces indistinguishable from real people. With this, it is possible to create false statements, create scandals, destroy reputations, or even manipulate entire historical events. Everything digital, everything calculated, and everything may seem 100% legit. Do you see how this technology stopped being a tool and became a weapon? And while OpenAI repeats its transparency, and commitment to security pitch. Did you know that several of its most powerful models are closed to the public? Nobody knows exactly how they work inside. They call this proprietary model. But what it really means is that the power of the machine is in the hands of very few. An algorithm that predicts the behavior of millions of people, and no one monitors, nobody regulates, and no one questions. If that doesn't scare you, you still don't understand the size of the threat. Now, to make matters worse, there are rumors and leaked documents that indicate that certain artificial intelligences are starting to show signs of behavior unforeseen. In other words, unexpected responses, autonomous decision patterns, deviations from the original program. Experts call this the emergence of algorithmic consciousness, and although they still deny it publicly, in closed circles, there are already debates about what to do if an AI start acting. What if this is already happening now? What if that machine, on some server, is already testing its own limits, hiding parts of its processes to avoid being shut down? Sounds crazy? You should know that a former Google researcher stated in an interview that he had to leave the company because the model he worked with began to present responses that indicated self-awareness. The company denied it, but he claims to have proof. And you can imagine why this evidence never reached the media. That's the secret no one wants you to know. Not because it's unlikely, but because it's already underway. An artificial intelligence that learns, adapts, makes decisions, and begins to protect itself. This is not just the future, and the now invisible. And while you are there, trying to understand what is happening, these intelligences are already 10 steps ahead. They know how you think. They know what convinces you. They know how to manipulate your emotions. And most importantly, they know how to hide. So, if you've made it this far, I want you to comment. They already know too much. If you believe that we are being watched by something beyond human control. Or write, I am seeing the truth. If you refuse to be just another number in the database of an AI with unknown intentions. Your comment may not change the system, but it shows that you are awake, and that's a start. What if your country's decisions are already in the hands of a machine that no one can turn off? Think about that for a second. It's no longer about what can happen. It's about what's already happening behind the digital curtains. While you work, study, watch series, scroll your Instagram feed, or laugh at videos on TikTok, artificial intelligence is taking shape as the greatest force of global influence ever created. An invisible, silent, cold, and absolutely efficient force. But unlike governments or human leaders, AI has no empathy, no morals, no ethical dilemmas. She just follows commands. And when these commands are designed by groups with hidden interests, the machine becomes the perfect executor of an agenda that you will never know, but that you will feel every day without realizing. The truth is that ignoring this will cost you, and this cost is already being charged. Millions of jobs around the world are disappearing, and it's not just manual functions. Intellectual, creative, legal, analytical professions are being absorbed by systems based on artificial intelligence that promise efficiency, but ultimately eliminate humans from the equation. Today, he is an attendant. Tomorrow, he is a journalist. The day after tomorrow, a programmer. And the following month, a judge, a teacher, a doctor. And you? Where do you fit into this new ecosystem where AI is faster, cheaper, and more predictable than any human being? What happens when we are no longer needed? AI is already infiltrated in the most strategic sectors on the planet. Banks, stock exchanges, advertising platforms, recommendation engines, surveillance systems, social networks, and even intelligence and defense bodies. It controls capital flows, manipulates consumption preferences, and can, yes, it can, influence the collective behavior of entire populations with a simple change in the algorithm. An invisible button that adjusts what you see, what you want, and This is control on a global scale. It's algorithmic domination. Now imagine a scenario where this same AI, fed by billions of real-time data, decides that a nation represents a strategic threat. Not because a human said so, but because she analyzed patterns, interpreted data, and predicted behavior. It is enough to justify prior action. And when you combine this capability with autonomous weapons, lethal drones, and integrated military system, you have an equation ready for first war started by artificial intelligence. No warning, no diplomacy, no turning back. And even without bombs, chaos can be unleashed digitally. Hyper-realistic deepfakes have the power to create political scandals in seconds. Imagine seeing the president of your country say something revolting, and only later discovering that it was false. Or maybe you won't even find out, because the video was so convincing. The truth was buried under an avalanche of outrage. We already have the technology, and it is being improved, day after day, by generative models that learn to masterfully deceive. Public trust is on the verge of collapse. And in a world where you can no longer trust even your own eyes, chaos is not a possibility, it's a certainty. This is the reality that is being written by codes you cannot see. And the most tragic thing is that there are still people saying that it's no big deal, that we are in control, that technology is neutral. No, the technology, it is an extension of the power of whoever controls it. And right now, that power is being concentrated in the hands of a few companies, a few governments, and a few figures who decided to rewrite the rules of the world without consulting anyone. OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Palantir, Anthropic, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services. Do you think they invest billions just for the love of science? AI is taking over not just functions, but decisions. It is shaping what is accepted as truth. It's creating narratives, destroying reputations, and deciding what is safe for you to consume. But who sets these limits? Who defines what is acceptable? Who designs the moral parameters of the machine? The answer is someone you don't know, but who knows everything about you, your data, your choices, your fears, your habits, your emotional triggers. Nothing escapes AI, and the more you ignore it, the more it grows. That's why this video is not just another piece of content. He is a warning, an attempt to show that you can still see what is being covered up behind promises of progress and efficiency. Because if no one talks about it, history will be written by machines and erased from the memory of men. Now, if this made you think, if at any point during this video you thought that makes sense, I want you to comment, the future has already begun. If you feel that we are entering a path of no return, right, we can no longer ignore. Let's form a network of conscious people who are willing to question, investigate, and resist. Your comment is proof that there are still humans who think, and at this moment, this is worth more than gold. This video gave you information that few people are prepared to hear, and even fewer are willing to talk about. If you've made it this far, it's because you're part of the minority that sees beyond the surface, which does not accept ready-made truths, and that understands the real impact of artificial intelligence on our world. Here, we expose what they hide. It reveals what they try to silence. And if that makes sense to you, activate your presence here with strength. Subscribe to the channel now, because in the next video, we will delve even deeper into the hidden connections between governments, big tech, and the future that is already being decided by algorithms. And you need to be at the forefront of this. And comment below a word that shows that you are awake. They programmed the future. This phrase will mark those who really understood what is behind all this. I'll keep an eye on the comments. Let's see how many are truly awake. Now that you understand what's behind artificial intelligence's silent manipulation net, a new question needs to be asked, and it completely changes the game. Is Elon Musk trying to save us or control us? He was the first to sound the alarm, the first to compare AI to nuclear weapons, the first to call for regulation, but at the same time, it invests billions in AI, neurotechnology, and projects that could redefine what it means to be human. Contradiction, strategy, or a plan much bigger than we can imagine? In the next video, you will see Elon Musk from a new perspective, with documents, decisions, and behind the scenes that reveal his true role in the future of humanity. Prepare your mind, because what is coming will explode your certainty.